Good morning, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I am back today with another What I Eat in a Day cycle syncing edition. Recently, I shared a What I Eat in a Day for my menstrual phase, the menstrual phase being the part of your cycle where you actually menstruate, the beginning and some would say end of every cycle, right? So if you want to see an example of a typical day of eating in my menstrual phase and a day of movement, right? The things I do to move my body during my menstrual phase, that video is going to be posted right here, and I'm also going to have it linked in the description box below. Also, keep your eyes peeled up here throughout the video because I am going to be posting links to other cycle syncing videos that I have on my channel and the playlist. I have a lot of content around this so far, but I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice. I'm just sharing my experience and what works for me in hopes of opening up a conversation about this because I feel like it's gaining traction in the last year or so, but it's not something that's widely known, and I feel like it needs to be something that people are at least aware of. Something else I want to get out of the way before we really dive into the video is that just like last time, I am going to be sharing the macros of what I'm eating. Specifically, I'm going to be sharing calories, protein, fat, and carbs. The reason I do this is because I know that some of us are also following secondary lifestyles, and maybe you're trying to hit a certain protein goal like I am. I try to aim for 100 grams of protein every single day. Maybe you're counting calories because you're trying to lose weight for PCOS or for IVF or for whatever number of reasons. Maybe you're counting carbs because you're diabetic or pre-diabetic. I'd rather put out too much information and you leave behind what you don't need rather than not giving you enough information and then the video is not as helpful as it could have been. That being said, if this talk of calories, etc. is triggering or just not something that you want to deal with, I completely understand. Feel free to click away right now. I promise I won't be offended. So today's video is going to focus on the follicular phase, which is the phase after menstruation. It's the phase between menstruation and ovulation. So menstruation is where your energy levels and your hormone levels are at their absolute bottom. And ovulation is when they hit their absolute peak. So follicular is that phase in between where everything is starting to ramp up. It's not at its peak yet, but it's going to get there throughout this phase. Because your hormones and thereby your energy levels are starting to raise a little bit, in this phase, I like to incorporate a little more intensity in my movement. This is, of course, a lifestyle, right? It's not just a diet, it's a lifestyle. And so you're not only changing the things you eat around your cycle, you're also changing the way you move your body to best support yourself during your cycle. So in the follicular phase, I will continue to do walks or yoga, particularly at the beginning of the phase, if that's what I feel like doing. But I'll maybe start incorporating a little more like dance workouts. If I have the energy that day, I will also resume my strength training. So I tend to do 3 times a week, some strength training. And the way I have it set up is that Mondays I'll do upper body, like arms, back, etc. Lower body I'll do Wednesday, so that would be legs, booty, etc. And then Friday I do full body. So I might just do abs and core, or I might do a blended routine where I do arms, legs, everything, all the things. And I do have more information on that, how I determine what I'm going to do as far as exercise and when, in this video up here. And of course, all the videos that I'm linking, I'm going to have them in the description box too, in case you're watching on your phone or something and you can't easily access these videos. As far as eating, in the follicular phase, your hormones are raising, right? Among those is estrogen. Estrogen's a tricky one because you do want to have enough to be able to go through all of the functions required in your cycle. But if you have too much estrogen, that's not super helpful because then it stops the production of other things. It makes things like ovulation difficult. It makes things like keeping a pregnancy difficult if that's your goal. So we want to aim for gut healthy things, fermented things to help us detoxify from the extra estrogen. It's going to help us metabolize it and get rid of it so it's not just swimming around in our system needlessly. Another way to support detox and thereby support good estrogen levels is sulfuric veggies. So broccoli, cauliflower, kale, The kinds of veggies that typically leave you gassy if you're not used to eating them, those are pretty much going to be a sure bet that they're going to be a good fit for this phase. So the best advice I could give you as just a regular person and not a doctor is eat them more often, and they won't cause the gastric distress that you typically associate with them. I make it a point to eat a big serving of green veggies every day, regardless of where I am in my cycle. My favorites these days are broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, green beans, and I've been loving cucumbers with Catalina dressing, which I wish there was like a proper organic version of Catalina. I might have to look around and see if I find a way to make it myself at home. I'm sure it won't be the same, unfortunately, but it's just really good. It's just like a really sweet dressing that I remember from my childhood. It's very nostalgic, and I've just been on a kick lately of cucumbers with Catalina dressing. But the point is that because I eat these things every day, I no longer even notice gastrically when I eat them. So something to consider. Otherwise, though, we're basically just striving for balance in this phase, a nice wide variety of nutrients and a good blend of protein, carbs, and fats. And once again, as I mentioned, I personally am going to be trying for a goal of at least 100 grams of protein today. That's my goal every day. I find that that's how I feel my best, is when I have at least that much protein in my system. Your mileage may vary. You have to try things out and see what works for you, see what makes you feel your best. I've been at this for over a year now. Again, I'm not an expert, but I know my own body better than anybody else, and that's just what works for me. So with all that information out of the way, let's make breakfast. So today I'm keeping it very, very, very simple. I don't know how well you guys are seeing that here, but I'm gonna be doing just like the regular Quaker gluten-free oatmeal today. I typically have eggs for breakfast, and I have a lot of eggs for breakfast, but I really did not have a great night of sleep. That's what happens when you've got kids. So I just want something quick today. This is, of course, gluten-free. Oats are naturally gluten-free, in case you don't know. And the gluten-free / dairy-free, I eat both gluten and dairy-free. That has nothing to do with cycle syncing, although a lot of people with PCOS do cut gluten and dairy out of their diets because they tend to be inflammatory. But the reason I eat gluten and dairy-free is because I have allergies. And so does my son, so it just is easier for me to buy everything gluten and dairy-free. Oats are naturally gluten-free, but the way that they are harvested tends to lead to a lot of cross-contamination. And so typical oats make me bloated. They don't make my tummy feel good at all. And in fact, it's just not worth it to me. So I don't eat oats often because sometimes even the gluten-free ones don't feel great on my belly. But when I do have a craving, it's always the maple brown sugar, and it's always gluten-free. That's non-negotiable. So the instructions say to do 1 envelope to a ½ cup of boiled water. I'm putting on my kettle right now. I find that a ½ cup is too much water. It's too runny. So I always do 1/3 cup, and that serves me just fine. You might be hearing the kettle sizzling back there, but I'm going to go ahead and prepare my coffee while I'm waiting for the water. So I've got my handy dandy coffee cup here. This is literally a bottle of pasta sauce, but I like that it has the markings, so I always know exactly how much coffee to pour, and thereby the coffee always tastes exactly the way I like it. Seems that the water is ready. That's the nice thing about it being just 1/3 cup, is that it comes to boil really, really fast. Give that a stir and then let it sit and absorb. That can hang out while we're making the coffee. So I've got my cold brew pitcher here. I'm obsessed with this thing. I'll have it linked below as well. This is always full of coffee in my fridge. So I like to pour to about that line. And I always add a little bit of monk fruit. I mentioned it in the last video, even though I don't avoid sugar generally, this flavor is just what I am accustomed to for coffee. If I have coffee or tea and it doesn't have this in it, it tastes off. Regular sugar does not taste correct to me in coffee and tea. So we've got that. I've moved on into my toasted marshmallow era. So we're gonna do 2 pumps of the toasted marshmallow. And just to continue the theme, I've got some toasted marshmallow nut pods. This is my absolute favorite flavor of nut pods, of coffee creamer generally. And unfortunately, especially refrigerated, because this is the best taste and texture in my opinion, it's a little harder to find. But lately, my local Sprouts has been carrying it pretty regularly. So this is what I've been buying. I do always keep the regular kind on hand for cooking and baking in case the need presents itself. But for coffee, especially while I'm using that toasted marshmallow syrup, toasted marshmallow nut pods is where it's at. So I want to keep it simple today. I don't want to go overboard cooking, but kiddo just woke up and he asked me to make him some bacon. And you know what? This is kind of lacking in protein a little bit. So I might make myself a couple slices of bacon too, just to round the meal out, since I have to cook anyways. I was hoping to avoid the whole cooking situation right now, but it was not in the cards. So let's go ahead and make some bacon too. I feel like I'm going to have to eat in courses now though, because the timing of this did not work out the way that I would have, made it happen if I'd known I was going to make bacon. So I guess I'll eat the oatmeal first. This will be my first course, and the second course will be the bacon. Okay, so my second course is ready. I've just got a couple slices of bacon here. This is one slice. I tend to cut them in half when I fry them so that they cook up more evenly. But this will be 2 slices of bacon, and then I got my coffee here that I'm going to finish. The macros for this meal in total, 340 calories, 10 grams of protein, 42 carbs, 14 grams of fat. The 10 grams of protein, not loving that. I typically try to aim for like 20, 25, even 30 grams of protein when I start my day. I also find that it's easier if I do that because then I can just stick to the same, 25, 30, 35 grams of protein for the subsequent meals, and I'll hit my 100-gram goal no problem. But I am going to have some pretty meat-heavy lunch and dinner, so I'm not too worried about it at all. Yum, 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 yum. So my lunch today is a little bit of a hodgepodge. Kind of, but not really. I'm almost having like a breakfast for lunch type situation, so I guess this would also make a good meal for breakfast in case oatmeal is not your thing. But I'm not really feeling super hungry, and I'm also not really feeling like cooking a whole lot. So I've got 3 lovely free-range eggs. I don't always get free-range, but they were on sale this week, so why not? And speaking of sales, I recently got a really good deal on spiral ham, so I've got a ton of it to get through. So I'm going to measure out 3 ounces of this leftover ham. I'm going to steam fry my eggs, kind of the same way I did them in my last What I Eat in a Day video. And then once that's done, I'm going to heat up the ham in the same pan. I've also got a Siggy's plant-based yogurt. This is my favorite brand of yogurt. I've tried Kite Hill, I've tried Forager. This has the best texture and flavor to me, hands down. The mixed berry flavor is one of my favorites too, but I also really love the raspberry, and I love the peach one. Those are just a little harder to find in my area, but they're all really, really good. If you haven't tried them, I recommend it. And lastly, I'm going to have about 4 ounces of pomegranate juice. Pomegranates are a big deal for your follicular phase. I'm assuming because of the high vitamin C content, they're probably really good at detoxifying from extra estrogen. So I'm going to have a little bit of this along with my huge cup of water. And this is going to be my lunch for the day. My friends, I started cooking dinner and completely forgot that I'm supposed to be recording all this for you guys today. So you can actually hear my chicken sizzling here in the background. The plan for tonight is I've got a bunch of chicken thighs, skin on, bone in, and because they're bone in, it's a little hard to weigh them. So I'm going to wait until they're done cooking, and I'm going to serve myself 8 ounces of chicken thigh. I'm just kind of pan frying them. I've got the lid on to make sure they're cooked through because I'm always iffy about cooking chicken with the bones. But it's just seasoned with some garlic salt. And then I'm going to throw in at the end some capers, some rosemary, and some lemon juice. This is something that my dad makes a lot, and it's amazing, and I haven't had it in a while, so I've been craving it. And with it, I'm going to have about the scale already turned off, but it's 7.5 7.3 ounces of red potato that I'm just going to steam up in the microwave. And speaking of steaming in the microwave, I'm also going to have this whole bag of Brussels sprouts. And I'm just going to season the veggies with salt and pepper and then throw some of that glorious lemon, garlic, caper sauce on top of everything. So here's my dinner. I've got kiddo crunching and munching right behind me, but we got our Brussels sprouts, our little potatoes, our 8 ounces of chicken. I've got my vitamins here, my vitamins and supplements that I take, ooh, steamy, every day. If you guys would like me to discuss that in a different video, like what I take every day and like why, what it does, let me know and I might do that in a future video. I also have my handy dandy cup here. I'll have this one linked down below in case you're interested. It is not a Stanley. I'm not about that Stanley life, but this is a 32 ounce stainless steel cup. I make it a point to drink at least 2 of them a day, sometimes 3, so we're talking 64 to 96 ounces of water a day. So this very satisfying and flavorful meal with all that protein and with our sulfuric vegetables and our vitamin C from the lemon sauce, this meal is going to come in at 783 calories, 49 grams of protein, 62 grams of carbs, and 38 grams of fat. So that brings my total, you guys can hear my son in the back, huh? That brings my total for the day to 1,693 calories, 101 grams of protein, so we just made it, 137 grams of carbs, and 81 grams of fat. So I'm going to enjoy my meal, hang out for a while, digest some, and then a little later on this evening, I'll get around to doing my workout of the day. Alright pal, sorry about the lighting. I know it's really like dark and gloomy in here, but I'm about to go exercise. I also just realized that the camera's kind of off kilter here, but I'm about to go exercise. I'm gonna do arms today. So I found a video from one of my favorite YouTube workout people, Kamoya Foray. I'm gonna have the specific video linked down below, but I recommend you check out her channel, especially if you're a plus size woman. She's got all sorts of stuff on there, walking workouts, all sorts of strength workouts. I really enjoy them and I do them really frequently. So I'm gonna link below the specific workout I'm gonna do. It's a 20 some odd minute upper body workout. So what I think I might do is I might do about 25 minutes walking on the treadmill, kind of like to warm up and get some cardio, and then I'm gonna follow it up with the arm workout. So let's go do that. Alright pal, sorry for the lighting in here. It's nighttime and like, it's a whole thing. But I am now concluding officially my What I Eat in a Day Follicular Phase edition. I just finished my workout, so I'm all red and sweaty, so forgive me, but it was a really, really good workout. I'm feeling very, very good. The one thing that I think I personally need to kind of adapt is I am a night owl, and I feel like most of my energy I really start to get like as the day wanes, right? That's when my energy goes up. And so I'm in the habit of exercising pretty much last thing on the list, right? Like last order of business of the day, exercise, shower, and then get ready for bed. And as a result, it takes me a really long time. I mean, I'm sure that's not the only thing that causes it, but it does take me a really long time to wind down and get ready to fall asleep. I think that if I fought against my internal nature and made myself exercise earlier in the day so that I can kind of wear off this endorphin rush well before bedtime, I might have an easier time falling asleep. So I'm gonna work on that. I can't make any promises that that will change by the time you see the next installment of this series, but I'm gonna work on it and I'll let you guys know what happens. Successful day of eating. I feel great. I feel satisfied. I feel really good with my workout. And I'll be back in the next few weeks with the next installment in the series. So the next phase is the ovulation phase. It's the one where your energy levels are highest because your body and brain go into baby making mode. So it's all about go, go, go and get it done. I will come back with another full day of eating with macros. I'll give you another example of a workout for that phase. And I can't wait to share it with you. I hope you guys are finding these videos helpful. If there's anything, questions or what have you that I can answer for you based on my own experience, please leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I'm able. And as always, I want to thank you all so much for being here and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click the notification bell. Oh my goodness, because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!